The MT2 comes with an AI Vision Sensor, which keeps you or your subject centered without you having to even look at the back of your camera screen. You can set A/B points directly on the gimbal without needing an app, which means this can be used as a motion control device. On the top of the gimbal, the balanced part, there's actually a 1/4" 20 thread. You can attach a GoPro or an Insta360 and get a shot of yourself or a good BTS angle. The AI chip also doubles as a fully adjustable bi-color RGB light. It's very quick and easy to swap from horizontal to portrait mode. Now obviously it is a small gimbal designed to be travel friendly, throw in any bag, but it can still balance an A7R5, FX3, A7S3 with a 24-70 GM Mark II and a mic on top. You can also get this tiny little remote to control the gimbal. This thing is super cute. Now I know that was more than 5, but let's take a look at those in a little bit more detail in this product showcase sponsored by Hohem. Let's go outside and test the AI Vision Sensor. Attach that on there. Red, flashes white twice. So it's ready to use. Little symbol, and now it's tracking me. It's literally that quick to set up and use. How far back can I go? So they say 5 meters, so this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still tracking me. 6, 7. Yep. 8. Still tracking me. 9. So we're way past where it says you should technically be. 10, so double what they recommend. And it's still got me, so works better than they say it does. Let's see if I go behind you, what it does there. See if it picks that up. Oh, it stumped it, and then it gets me again. So it's definitely not just tracking a regular person, it's looking for something specific about me. So obviously you might not be filming yourself all the time, you might be filming talent or someone or something. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get Garrett to do the AI motion so it tracks him. And the idea here is that I can just focus on running with the gimbal and the gimbal will track him and keep him in the center of the frame. So let's try it out. Well, imagine that this is a baseball diamond that actually has bases on it and we'll just run from home plate to first base. Do the AI gesture. It's already picked you up, I can see. Run straight and I'm not gonna focus on the camera whatsoever. And we'll see if it keeps you in the center. Oh, it did. On the side of the gimbal, there's actually 2 buttons right here, which you can actually use to set A and B points. So this can become a motion controlled device without having to use an app. To set your first point, very simple, just angle the gimbal to wherever you want it to be. Let's say right there. Click and hold the top button, which is your A. It beeps to let you know that that is point A. Then move it to point B. Let's say point B is back the other way. Now push and hold B. Beeps again, lets you know that that one's been registered. Push A to go back to point A. It returns to where point A was recorded. And then double tap the B button to start that motion control. It's time. The default amount of time straight out of the box for it to go from point A to point B is 1 minute. There is an app you can download and change that time if you wanted to. This could be useful for you if you are filming a time lapse and you want a smooth, controlled, steady motion to occur within that time lapse without having to keyframe it in post. I mean, you could still keyframe it in post and get double the movement if you wanted to. On the top of the gimbal right here, there's actually a 1/4" 20 thread. Now, this is nothing new, but the difference here is that this is actually on the balanced part of the gimbal. So anything that's attached here is going to move in exactly the same way and smoothness as the camera does. So what you can actually do is attach something like a Insta360 or a GoPro and get a secondary piece of video. So you can shoot portrait or landscape or anything like that, but also you can get a nice BTS angle of what your camera is filming, or if you wanted to just film yourself as you're filming something to have some BTS video to talk about afterwards, you could do that as well. Now the benefit here is that this and this are connected because they're both on the balanced part. So whenever I turn the gimbal, which turns the camera, it turns the behind the scenes camera at the same time. Now that little AI sensor isn't just an AI sensor, it doubles as a fully adjustable bi-color RGB light. If you click and hold the button on the side right here, it turns that fill light on. If I turn this dial, you'll see that it turns down the brightness of the light. Or if I tap the button once, I can change the color temperature of the light. Now it's fully adjustable from 6500 all the way down to 2700. And if you push the button 3 times, 1, 2, 3, it changes to a RGB light, which you then turn the dial off and you can change the color value of the light. Again, you can tap the button once and adjust the brightness by turning the dial up and down again. Tap it once more, it goes back to the color value of the light. Triple tap, and it goes back to your bi-color light. Now, because of the way this has been designed, it actually sits on an L bracket, which makes it pretty quick for swapping between horizontal and vertical modes. So if you just pull this lever right here, hold down this button, the whole L bracket actually comes off, and then you can just turn it on its side, slide that piece on, lock it, and you're now in portrait mode. You need to rebalance it obviously, but that's very quick to swap between both modes. And if at any point you want to take it off of the gimbal, the actual plate that mounts to the L bracket, that is in fact Arca Swiss on the bottom there. So if you use Arca Swiss, that will be compatible with everything else you have. I have the 24-70 GM Mark II on here with the A7R5. It'll work with the FX3, A7 IV, A7S III, basically all of Sony's bodies these days other than the FX6. I also have the Sony ECM B10 on the top. Now I have this balanced at 35 because I can zoom in and out, but if I wanted to go to 70, it's completely fine there. If I also wanted to go to 24, it's also completely fine. The motors pick up the slack for when it's zoomed in and zoomed out. Some other kind of convenient features I found when using it, there's actually 2 USB-C ports on the side here, which you can connect to the camera for 2 different purposes. The top port can be used to charge or power the camera when the gimbal is turned on, if you're low on battery and don't want to take it off and change a battery. And then the bottom USB-C port, which again directly connects via USB-C to the camera, can be used to control the camera. So you can push the record button down here and it will trigger recording on the camera. You can also push and hold this lightly to enable autofocus, and there's actually a little zoom rocker on here as well, so if you use clear image zoom with your Sony camera or you have a power zoom lens, it will control the zoom on the lens directly. Those aren't things everyone's going to be doing, but they're there if you want it to. There's also an app that you can use to control more of the features of the gimbal. I'm not a huge fan of using apps in general, but a lot of more customizable settings are in there if you wanted to use them. It has all the regular gimbal modes that you come to expect with gimbals these days: pan follow, pan tilt follow, lock. You got that inception mode in there if you wanted to use that. You can vlog with it. If you triple tap the trigger, it changes to a vlogging mode. And then wherever the gimbal is facing, you can double tap the trigger and it just resets it to the center again. So the DJI RS3 and the Hohem MT2 are obviously kind of against each other. This is $429 US. This is $299 US. So quite a bit cheaper in terms of price compared to the RS3 Mini, which it's almost identical in terms of size. It can carry this exact setup on the RS3 Mini. I've had that on there before. You don't have that little 1/4" thread on the top there, and you don't have the AI stuff with that fill light on there if you need those features. Those are the 2 biggest differences that you're actually gonna notice out in the real world using these 2. So that's a little product showcase on the Hohem MT2 and how it works, some of its functions. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.